Welcome back to Clueless Classics, and for the first time since I've had the TVR, we've got a deadline to work towards because we've got to prep the car to head to the rolling road so Shaun at MS2 Tuning can work his magic on the road map that this car so desperately needs. So, plan today then, my friend.
Right, yep, so obviously we've got the dyno coming up. I think it's worth having a look at this oil leak, see what's going on there. Worth just checking all the other oils as well. We'll make sure the fans cut in as they should do. We'll try and give you a fighting chance on the way down there.
Let's get the car in the air and clean off all of that old oil.
Right, yes, so obviously looking under here, Dan, there is quite a lot of oil about, which, yeah, we did mention before. Very wet along the exhaust, down to there, but it is all engine oil, it's black. It's not from the gearbox or anything like that, because obviously gearbox oil's ATF, so that would be bright red. So that's an easy way to identify that. Yeah, I think we need to do something with that before it goes to the dyno. So what we'll do, we'll get the brake cleaner out, give it a good clean off so it's all nice and dry. Then we'll just start the car up, run it up to temperature, have a look while it's running, see if we can see where the oil's coming from. So obviously this is the sump, a few modifications around there. There's obviously that oil pipe coming off there, which wouldn't normally be on the TVR. Just up there, you would normally have a pressure switch. It's got a bit of an oil takeoff as well, so that's been quite modified. Oil light switch in its place, so that does look quite damp. There's a good chance there's some leaks around there. So yeah, just further back from the engine, those are really the modifications at the front. Obviously a pickup wheel as well, so it'll have a crank sensor on, which they wouldn't normally have. Ah, yep, so there's your crank sensor there, just on that bracketry. Yeah, and you can see the modified exhaust there, which is quite nice. Nicely done. As I say, we've complimented on the workmanship of that previously.
Yeah, you said that was a really nice job.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, you can appreciate the workmanship that's gone into that.
Oh, is that my towing eye?
It is, yeah.
I wonder where the towing eye was.
Hopefully something you won't need.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Well, you're going to put it on a flatbed, isn't it?
Well, yeah, that's it. Something like that.
Right,
But
so
yeah.
you're going to clean the bottom of all this off, because
are.
there is a lot of oil in
There is a lot of oil. Yeah, no, it's something we want to see what's going on there. And make sure, say give you a fighting chance. So yeah, so moving back from the sump, you've got your gearbox obviously here. That's the bell housing. Gearbox is attached to it there. So it is quite wet this area as well. That could be oil that's just run backwards from the gearbox, but there's also a potential for a leak inside there from the rear main oil seal, from the crank rear main. They're not too uncommon as well from the TVR, so you've got the rear main crank and also the crucifix seals as well, which go in the rear of the rear main bearing as well. So if you're doing them, it's gearbox out, sump off, rear main oil seal, and obviously crucifix seals as well. You try and do everything while you're in there, really. It makes sense because it's quite a big job to do. The parts aren't particularly expensive, so
Right.
you'd want to do everything. Obviously gearbox this end, which is wet underneath, but it looks engine oil rather than gear oil because they use the ATF gear oil, which is red, so that's an easy way to identify that. But no, that's definitely engine oil. Likewise down the exhaust as well. It looks like it's got quite a long bead of weld along there, which they don't normally have.
Ah.
Potentially someone's maybe bottomed the car out at some point and cracked it. A few sort of scuff marks. It could be where they've just cleaned the exhaust up to weld it, but yeah, that's quite unusual to go all the way up. I'm not quite sure what's gone on there, but yeah, that is quite a long bead of weld. So yeah, quite interesting.
How are we going to go about cleaning this, Steve?
So we're going to give it a good spray off with some brake cleaner, get as much off as we can. I mean, it's never going to be 100% perfect, but we'll clean the main areas up, get in the car, start it up, and then see if we can see where it's coming from.
Right, I'll go get some blue roll and we'll
That's
crack
it,
on
we'll
that
keep you busy. So I think favourites are probably going to be around the modifications. I mean, the Rover V8s normally do leak a bit, to be fair, but the trouble is when you start drilling into sumps and modifying bits, there's always a potential for more leaks. The more joints you've got, the more potential there is for them to leak oil through it.
Because I can't remember whether we've said the goal for me with this car, I'm not looking for a show car.
No,
I'm not
that's
looking
fine,
for it rolling out of the factory, but we want to get it nice but do it right.
Yeah, that's it. And so it's usable and
Yeah.
stack the odds in your favour reliability wise, I suppose,
Yeah.
isn't it? And yeah, make it as good as it can be.
This is already looking much better.
Yeah. I don't think it's going to stay like this though when we fire it up. That's the only problem.
So you're hoping to see the oil
Yeah, hopefully they'll...
I don't want to say absolutely pouring out, but are we hoping for drips?
I'm hoping there'll be a drip, yeah. I mean, obviously when the car's running, the oil will be up to pressure, so it'll be circulating around the engine. Also gets hotter, so it gets thinner as well. So in theory, it should find where it's leaking from and drip out of it. I mean, it's not perfect by any means, but I think it'll be enough to show where it's coming from.
Cool, so we're going to drop the car down,
Yep.
start the engine, give it 5-10 minutes?
Yeah, we'll send it up and keep an eye on it as it's warming up, and yeah, hopefully it should reveal itself.
Well, we can't put this off any longer. Let's get the car started and see where all this oil's coming from.
So a little bit of water just out the exhaust, that's nothing to worry about that. It's obviously, water's a bit of a byproduct of combustion, so you will always get a little bit of condensation and water coming through there.
Well, there's nothing absolutely pouring out, which
No,
is
not
good.
yet, not yet. So we'll just give it a bit of time just to warm up a little bit.
This is when we realise there's no oil coming out because there isn't any in the engine.
Well, no, we did check that before.
Oh, that's okay.
So far, so good, Dan. There's nothing pouring out, which is a good sign. Yeah, so in the front crank's looking dry, really. That's always a potential as well, the front crank oil seal. But there's no oil traces from down there.
Well, someone just hit me on the head, I think. That's oil.
Is it?
Smells like oil.
Yeah.
Tastes like oil.
Tastes like oil. Well, it's a good thing that there's no drip.
Yeah.
So far, or not, apart from the one that's here on the head. It's maybe not quite as bad as we first thought. Could be a little bit from up there, Dan, where the original oil light switch is.
Right.
Just notice a little drip coming down on the oil filter housing.
Oh,
there.
yeah, you can see that, mate.
And that looks quite clean oil. But the original switch is just up there. I don't know if you can see it. It's not got a connector on because it's been bypassed, but I'll just give that a little white.
Do you want me to be honest with you, Steve?
Go on then.
This was not what I was expecting.
No, I must admit I was expecting to see a few drips by now.
So what are you thinking? We nip everything up?
Well, I think it could be the way to go. I mean, we'll just let
Yeah.
it warm up a little bit more.
Right.
Just keep an eye on it.
Cup of tea?
If you're putting the kettle on, that
I'll put
sounds
the
good
kettle
to
on.
me. Yeah, maybe a little bit around that hose clip as well, Dan. A little drop there,
yeah.
so yeah. I think it would. Oh, have you had a drip?
I've had another drip on my hair.
So I don't think it's coming from the bell housing. Maybe a little bit from the back of the sump. Up there, you see on the bottom of the bolts. There's a little. Yeah, I mean, in an ideal situation, probably sump off and a reseal. So we can give them a little nip up because it looks like it's been off fairly recently, and it looks like it's got a gasket on there. So in theory, they should nip up. So I think at this stage, I think if we just go around everything, give everything a little nip, and then reassess it, keep an eye on it. Yeah, there is a little bit from that core plug as well. It does look a bit damp up there.
Right.
Yeah, so you can just see it there.
Yeah. So how would you get to that, Steve? Because that doesn't look like a nice job to do.
No, easy with the engine out, but we will want to go that way. With the exhaust off, you'll be able to do it.
So we've got oil on the floor.
We do have some fresh spots of oil. There is a little bit around the sump, a little bit up there. The drain bung itself is nice and dry, but there is a few little drips off the edge of the sump. There is also one there, Dan, as well, which it's not the best to use.
Is that the rear main seal?
It's looking that way, yeah, unfortunately. There's a little bit off the back of the sump, but that does look like it's coming from the inside of the bell housing, unfortunately. So, and it's not gearbox oil.
Brilliant.
Yeah. So, yeah, that'd make a good video, pulling the gearbox out.
Oh, I bet it would. You know what, though? At that point, we look at clutch, we look at...
Yeah, I mean, it's good practice for clutching, particularly if this is still running the standard 4-litre clutch. They did a more upgraded one for the 4.5 and a 5-litre, because obviously the extra power. And I think standard clutch with this sort of power, you could probably do with something a bit
Put a
more.
5-litre clutch in, do you think? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So no, it's, yeah. And I think while you're in there, it's good practice to have a look at the clutch as well. Particularly if there's oil there, there's potential that the clutch could also be embedded with oil as well. And like I say, once that's off, we'll take the sump off as well. We'll do the crucifix seals and the rear main all in one, and try and tick all the boxes when you're in there. Go in there once and do it right. So.
Well, it's not, apart from the rear main seal, which we kind of already knew about from the inspection video,
Yeah.
there's nothing majorly new or scary that we've known.
No, not at all. Not at all. So in fact, that's not even attached, just by touching that. Interesting. Yeah, I can't see the connector in there, but it could be that that's not even doing anything either.
Oh, so that's doing nothing.
That's doing nothing. No. Yeah, no, I think we need to do something with that.
Right.
Definitely.
Okay, so that's all of a sudden become a priority.
Yeah, no, it's keeping us on our toes until the
Yeah.
But
For people that have just jumped into the video, Steve, what have you just discovered there?
so, obviously, as we mentioned before, the oil pressure sender has been modified. It's got a different switch arrangement on there with the T-piece with the oil feed. There was a wire pushed into the end of it, but as just by touching it, then we've discovered it's not actually plugged into anything. So, yeah, I think we need to give that some attention. Obviously, with the somewhere is, I can't quite see what is in there. I suspect it's maybe just a little round pin, but that's got the original spade connector in, so it's not going to do anything. But yeah, I think we'll get a little camera or something just to have a look in there, see what's going on in there. But yeah, we'll need to do something with that, Dan.
Right, looks like you've got a few bits to do before next week then.
Yeah, you like to keep me busy, don't you?
Of course I do.
Right, yeah, I think we could turn it off, Dan, give everything a nip up, and yeah, keep an eye on it, I think. From
Sounds
there,
good to me.
Right, yeah, so we'll just give all these a little nip up, Dan, just to make sure they're as they should be. Nice and tight. Yeah, to be fair, they do all feel alters. Yeah, you do run the risk potentially, if you go too tight with these, of damaging the gasket.
Right.
So there is always that potential, because they do feel pretty tight. I'd normally just give them a little nip with a quarter drive ratchet, and then maybe just a little bit beyond what I would do with that. Yeah, again, they are very tight.
Rock solid.
So, yeah.
So actually, you think they could be a bit too tight and it's damaged the gasket?
That is possible, right. Yeah. So we have got quite a bit of a nip on that. I mean, the thing is, round the sump, obviously oil sort of tracks down, so if it's leaking out of one of these, it could potentially sort of run down and then obviously drip off the lowest point, which is normally where the sunbung is. So yeah, any bolts further forward can look like it's coming from the sunbung area, which is why I've sort of cleaned it all off. I have got quite a nip on that hose clip, which is nice.
That's good.
So that has tightened up quite a bit. It looks fairly dry around the back of that union as well. There is an O-ring on there, so obviously, again, without taking the sump off, we don't know exactly what's on the back of there, but it doesn't really seem to be causing an issue. I mean, obviously now it's all cleaned off as well. We'll keep an eye on the floor and see if there's anything fresh appears overnight. Yeah, what we'll do, now I've got my screwdriver in my hand on as well, is just have a quick look at this 100 amp fuse. So we'll open it up. So that does look good. That is the earlier type fuse as well. So the later type ones are encased where the fuse part is. The issue you had with those when they were new is obviously it is just a metal fuse, and they do get quite hot and cold. So metal expands, contracts when it gets hot, cold, and then you'd quite often just get a little crack in the middle, and that would cause the issue with the starting and the charging. So obviously when they go as well, they do tend to sort of bend in the middle a little bit. So that's a sign that it's on its way. But as you say, that
decent nick.
It does, yeah. That's definitely been changed.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure in the service history it was changed.
But no, it's always worth having a look at when you're servicing these as well. Like I say, for a nice, cheap, quick fuse change, it can save a lot of hassle going forward. While we're here as well, we'll obviously belt and braces for the rolling road. We'll check the gearbox oil level while it's up on the ramp. I know there's no signs of any gear oil leaking, but even so, it's worth having a look at because it's something we've not had a look at yet. And we'll also check the diff oil. So I think we said on the first video, there's two variants of gearboxes that they use on the Chimaera. Yours has got the later T5 gearbox. The earlier gearbox was the Rover LT77. So easy way of identifying him when you're up in the car is to see where reverse gear is. So if reverse gear is left and up, that shows it's the Rover box, the early box. Whereas this one, you have to go into fifth first and then back into reverse to stop them crunching.
Yeah, it doesn't like going into reverse without going into fifth first.
Yep. So no, make sure you go into fifth first. But yeah, that's the way of identifying the T5 box. So probably the nicer box, to be fair to you.
Yeah,
so.
the change is great. And once you told me, I didn't know about that trick of going into fifth first. I remember the first time I came and we had a sat down with me. He's like, oh, by the way, on the way out, if you put it in fifth first, it really makes a difference.
Yeah, oh, absolutely, yeah. It'll save you quite a bit of hurt and grinding and screeching in the gears. So, yeah, well worth doing. Diff wise as well, as I said there's two variants of diffs. Yours has got the earlier diff, so it's sort of right on the changeover, so you've got later gearbox but earlier diff. So you've got the GKN diff. Yeah, they're fine, to be fair, they do the job. The later ones are the BTR diffs. These ones are a little bit more awkward to check the oil level. It could be in one of a couple of places. Sometimes they have them on the sides, sometimes they have them on the back. But I say they're a little bit more awkward, but we'll show you how to get around that. So gearbox wise, they have the drain bung there. The filler bung is just above it to the left, just up there. So what we'll do, we'll take out the filler and just see where we are with the level. So that's cracked off nice and easy. They don't always come out that easy. So
I'm guessing you always want to take the filler out first.
Oh yeah,
right?
definitely. If you're going to be changing him, yeah, because yeah, like you say, once you've drained the oil, yeah, and then you find out the filler's not going to come out easy. yeah, you're into some problems.
You're into a bit of trouble.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
especially on a Sunday afternoon.
Oh well, that's it. I mean, yeah, the oils are going to need changing, but if you've got a customer waiting, you know, you want to make sure you're going to be able to fill it back up, because obviously once you've drained the oil, you are committed. So there's a chance this may just pour straight out when I undo the bung, like that. So, and as you can see, the gear oil is red on there, so you can see it just on the gearbox up there. So that's the ATF.
So that's a good sign.
That's a good sign. Plenty of gearbox oil in there, and it's the right stuff as well.
I mean, that just cements our suspicion, well, your suspicion, that this has been looked after, this car.
Yeah, no, that's it. And I mean, the gear oil looks nice and clean as well, to be honest, so it's probably not been in that long. So yeah, it's definitely been serviced. So yeah, yours, unfortunately, got the more awkward drainer. So the awkward filler, should I say. So that's your drain bung on the sump, which is fairly easy to get to. But the filler is just up there, just at the side of the chassis.
How on earth are you going to get in there?
So with a little extension and a ratchet, hopefully.
So is this part of the normal, because there were two services, weren't there? Was it the 6K and the 12K?
6K and the 12K, yeah, those were the TVR official schedule. 6K, basic parts wise, be oil and filter, spark plugs. So your 12K is the biggie, so you would also include your brake fluid, your clutch fluid, gearbox oil, diff oil, air filter, fuel filter, a few other little bits as well along the way. Antifreeze as well when that's due, you know, every couple of years if it's on the blue. Brake and clutch fluid, they want doing every couple of years as well, regardless of mileage really. More because it's hydroscopic, so brake and clutch fluid absorbs moisture, so then you get water in your cylinders and it can potentially cause your master cylinders to stick and seize up. It comes apparent quite often if you're changing the brake fluid, if it hasn't been done for a while, because obviously you slacken off the brake, the bleed nipples. When you're pressing the pedal goes down a lot further than it normally would in normal road use if you're not heavy braking. And if there is moisture in there, that can cause the piston inside the master cylinder to stick. So the pedal comes back, but the piston stays there. So yeah, that's when that comes to light, because you end up with no pedal, and
that's not what you want in a car like this.
No, that's yeah. You want your brakes to be on your side and to be a top, top notch really. So yep. So we've just got the little bung in there. So now we need to see if we can slacken it off.
So is this the same as the gearbox we're expecting, a nice stream of oil?
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, this won't be red. This will be sort of a clear, quite sort of opaque, milky, cleary stuff, and it will be quite thick. And it doesn't smell particularly nice, diff oil either. So it's the sort of thing you don't really want on your clothes if you can get away with it. There we go. Yeah. So yeah, so now that's good as well. So there's plenty in there. Again, it looks clean. You know, it doesn't look like it's been in there for a huge amount of time.
That's good. Oh yeah, it's got a smell to it, that, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does have a certain aroma. So that's all nipped up nice then. So we'll try and retrieve my little tool, so to speak, and then give it a wipe down. There we go. Fab. Another job done.
So we're happy with what's underneath?
Yeah, so we'll keep an eye on the oil leaks as well, just make sure that is nothing too sinister, but hopefully not. Maybe nipping that hose might have helped something. So the sump was very tight, so I suspect it's maybe not that, or potentially, if it is, it'll be the gasket that split itself if it's been over tightened. But so we'll keep an eye on that and go from there. But there's no big puddles, so touch wood, you know, it's nothing too much to worry about, hopefully. I say going forward, I think with the dyno run, I think it's worth checking all the levels, make sure all those are right, stack all those odds in your favour. So nice and easy to check really, particularly with the bonnet off. So first thing we'll double check is just the engine oil. So dipstick is just there, located under there. So pull that off, give it a wipe. So yeah, engine oil all looking good, just below full. So we'll maybe pop a little bit more in, because I know it does drink a little bit this. So yep. Yeah, we'll pop a drop of that in before the dyno. So filler on one of these is just there. Again, sort of nice and easy to get to. Literally unscrews. You've got quite a fancy lever one. As standard, they would just have a nice orange cap, similar colour to my gloves, actually. Right. But yeah, so nice little upgrade on there. Next thing, we'll check the coolant level. There's two bits to check on the Chimaera. So you've got your swirl pot there, and then your expansion pot down there. We might even just give the radiator a little bleed, make sure there's no air in the system as well. So to do this, obviously, we'll take the cap off there, take the cap off the expansion. Car's nice and cool now, so it'll be fine to bleed up, and then we'll just undo the bleed screw from the top hose. I think we mentioned before, you've got an upgrade alloy radiator as well. So the original ones were copper cord. Yours has got the alloy one on, which will sort of help with the cooling as well. So obviously it's important to check this when it's cold, because when the coolant gets hot, it all expands, and there's a potential for it to blow up in your face, which you don't want. It's interesting now we've got a little magnet on the end of there. They wouldn't normally have that. I suspect that's maybe a sump bung that's been adapted for the cooling system. Is that a
sump plug?
Yeah, so I mean, if you've got filings in the cooling system, there's issues somewhere. Yeah. Hopefully not too much of a problem. So level wise, that looks pretty good. That wants to be pretty much to the top of the swirl pot, which you look to be about right. And then you've got your expansion tank down there. That wants to be about half full. Nice gauge is just where that seam is around the top of the expansion bottle. If the level's up to about there, you should be fine. So as I say, we'll just...
Does that one look okay?
It does, yeah. Level wise are both good. You know, fraction below the top, but nothing that you'd worry about. We will just open the top of the radiator bleed screw up just to see if there's any air in there. Oh, it feels a bit tight, does that, Dan?
Wowzers.
Yeah, that is pretty tight, that, Don. So yeah, we do run the risk of rounding them off when they're that tight, so I think we'll try and come up with a plan B to get that off. So because that is so tight, Dan, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to put some roll grips on the outside of it, Allen key through the middle, and it'll just give us that little bit of extra leverage to get it out, hopefully. There we go.
Whoa, that was squeaky bum time for a minute then, that was.
It was, definitely. But no, that's just got that off. But yeah, no, you do have to be careful with those, because if you do round them off with the Allen key, you are in a bit more trouble. So we will just whiz this out. Hopefully you might see a little bit of air come out, followed by some fluid, but you see a few little bubbles there, Dan. There we go. And there's the coolant out there. And then we'll pop that in and tighten it up. Just not quite as tight as it was before.
Yeah. So that didn't look like it had a colour to it, Steve. Is that water?
Yeah, I mean, we can test the antifreeze content as well. Okay. It's probably worth doing. But yeah, that didn't look particularly strong. So
right.
Whether there's much antifreeze in there or not is another story, but I suspect there's probably not a great deal. Basic but effective. We'll suck in the coolant into the tester, and it'll show how many floating balls we'll have, and that'll show the antifreeze content from there. So hopefully it should have a bit in it, and we'll also get to see the proper colour of it. So there is a slight blue tinge in there, Dan.
So should all of those be floating?
Well, no, you'd hope that a couple would be. But yeah, none. So
none.
That's not a good sign.
Right.
Yeah. So no, it does want some antifreeze in it. That's something that we do want to be doing, really. So it's worth doing a full coolant change, which, yeah, again, with the bonnet off, not the end of the world. A little bit more awkward with having the the turbo hose there from the intercooler. But yeah, just bottom hose down there off the radiator. We'll slacken that off, pull that off, drain the coolant out of it, and then we'll fill it with some fresh and bleed it back up. Right, yep, so other levels done, worth checking. Screen wash, but not really an option at the moment because we've not got the bottle in, have we yet? So
Yeah, that was funny. I kind of went to use the screen wash, and then I was like, Steve, I can't find out where you fill the screen wash. And you went, well, yeah, it's meant to be there.
It is, yeah. So, no, that's definitely an important job on the list to do. But yeah, next one, brake fluid, clutch fluid. They're just on the driver's side, underneath there. I've popped a wing cover on because brake fluid is quite nasty stuff, particularly if you get it on to the paintwork, so you want to be sort of careful with that. Brake fluid, just there. Clutch fluid, slightly more awkward to get to, it's underneath that fiberglass cover.
I wonder what was under that cover.
Yep, so no, nicely tucked away and easy to get to, supposedly. Brake fluid, we'll just take the cap off. These do have a float level sensor in as well, so in theory, if the fluid does get low, you should have a warning light on your dash. So I'll just pop that onto there. That does look pretty murky, does the brake fluid, to be honest. So I think that is a job on the list. We'll also check that for water content, but sort of a visual look in there, it does look like it's not been changed for a while. So yeah, I think we need to pop that on the list as well.
I have a feeling that a full service on this car might not be something we wait for.
No, I think it's probably once doing, doesn't it? Level wise, it looks fine. Probably slightly overfilled if anything, but that shouldn't really cause you an issue. That only becomes an issue if we're changing the brake pads and we have to push the calipers right in because it forces the fluid back to the reservoir and then causes that to spill out over the paintwork and potentially cause you some damage on the paint. But we're not at that stage yet. I mean, we'll, as I say, once we service it, we'll change that through and we'll put it to the correct fill level. As I say, just the clutch master cylinder. We'll just lift this bonnet stay up out the way on that. So these are normally held in by 4 Phillips screws. Sometimes I don't always have the one underneath because they're a bit more awkward to get to, but we'll take those off. It should also be sealed up as well. Quite a common water ingress point if they're not sealed, so rainwater run down here into there and straight to your footwell. So if you're getting wet feet, there's a good chance that's not sealed up. We'll unscrew the screws, clean off the bit of silicone. Not the tidiest silicone in I've ever seen, to be fair, but we'll take that off and then just have a look at the fluid level in the clutch. That's off there. It could be sealed up, Dan. I wasn't really expecting that, I must admit.
Really?
So, yeah, just carefully go around it. Ah, yeah. It's got a little bit around it.
There we go.
Peel that off. And there is your clutch master cylinder. So I suspect it's probably had one in its life. Earlier master cylinders had a metal cap on, that's got a plastic one, so it probably has had a master cylinder. Not too uncommon for failing, to be fair, so it's something worth keeping an eye out. Symptoms you'll get with that is a floppy clutch pedal, really. You'll be pressing it, there'll be no resistance there. So something worth keeping an eye on.
Oh, there's definitely resistance. It's one of the heaviest clutch pedals I think I've ever felt in my life.
Again in there's your clutch fluid. It is quite down, to be fair. So when we would do them, we'd fill them up to the top. They don't hold a vast amount of fluid anyway. What we'll do at this stage as well, let's have a quick look inside the car as well at the pedal end, because when they fail, it tends to run down the rod or sit behind the rubber gaiter just in the driver's footwell. So we'll have a quick nose in that. Could be that it's not been filled up correctly. Could be there's a slight leak, but we'll have a look and again we'll keep an eye on that whilst we've got the car. So yeah, obviously be careful when you're topping it up as well, because clutch fluid is the same as brake fluid, all .4. So again, it can mark the paint. You want to be pretty careful when you're doing it, really. So yeah, we'll just tidy up some of this old silicone, because obviously we'll put a nice thin bead in there. Somebody's at some point sealed around the outside of it, which I think's a little bit messy, to be fair. Obviously that goes on there. I would normally just put a bead of silicone on the inside so you can't see it and then just smooth it round. It saves all this on the paintwork, but unfortunately without sort of major surgery of peeling it all back, we can't do a huge amount with that at the moment, but we will make it look better. And it'll be sealed, which is the main thing.
Yeah, that's the important bit.
You don't want a wet knee when you're driving along.
So do you think it stands a good chance on the dyno then, Steve?
Yeah.
We're not worried too much about it?
No, I mean, the Rover V8s are pretty bulletproof, to be fair. 4 litres more so than the 4.5s and 5 litres. They tend to have a potential for some cam wear, but yeah, as a rule, we don't really have a lot of issues with the Rover V8s. Obviously, this is not quite a standard Rover V8, but I think sort of mapping it now in time before it's run too much with the setup that it's got, I think certainly stand it in good stead. So yeah, I think you'll be all right, Dan. I think it'll be a good day out.
Yeah, definitely. And we're not doing it for the number because we know what the numbers are. We're doing it to get it running properly and to...
Yeah, the longevity as well. I mean, it's going to be quick enough, you know, even losing a few horsepower. But like you say, the gains that you're going to get from the MPG and the drivability will make it definitely worthwhile and worth a few sacrificial brake horsepower.
Definitely. And safer as well.
Oh,
because it is...
Yeah. Yeah, it's a bit of an animal, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, it's...
And these things were scary at the best of times, weren't they?
Oh, yeah. They're certainly not slow, are they? Even in standard form, so... No, I think it'll still put a smile on your face, Dan.
Oh, every time. Until you send me the bill.
that's when I get a smile
That's
on
when
my
you
face.
get the smile.
Yeah, 100%. Just a thin bead all the way around on the inner edge. You don't need much, Dan, just enough to fill the gaps and stop the water going in. Yep, so cover just back on there, just give it a little move around it and just help to smear the seal around and fill the gaps up.
So I've just I've made the decision that might annoy a few people.
Right,
But it's not their car.
Well, that is very true, Dan. Your car,
We're going to change the wastegate spring.
Okay, yep.
We're going to turn it down a bit.
Not a bad idea, to be fair.
I think to keep the engine alive
Yeah, we like
and
a bit
the
of longevity.
driver alive.
Well, yeah, definitely. Yeah. No, it makes sense, definitely.
So we'll reduce that. Now, I can't remember what Edwin said is in it. I think it might be an £8 spring.
Okay.
I think, and I'm not an expert, but I think maybe 6 PSI would be a decent
We can try
number.
one. Yeah, definitely. It's worth dropping it down.
Which is half of what it was. So that's going to be...
Yeah, no, it's worth a go. And I think it's probably worth taking them just down to the rolling road as well. They're not too bad to swap over, so we'll whiz the wastegate off, see what's inside and swap that over for you. So I think we'll take this off and see what they have fitted. And then, yeah, we'll work out a plan and see what we can get done. It does feel quite a hefty spring, I must admit. There's quite a bit of force pushing that out. Oh, there we go. Wow. There we go.
The black spring is 8.7 PSI.
Right, yep. No, we can definitely reduce that a bit.
Should I put the green in?
Well, yeah, it's your choice, Dan.
Because the green was 4.5.
Yep,
4.5 PSI.
yep, for the green.
Now, I wanted
You wanted 5, didn't you, Dan? Is that what you
5 to 6, which is the red one, which we don't have, or 7 for the yellow.
At least they are nice and easy to swap over, so it's something that your rolling road guy will maybe want to have a play with when he's down there. So,
Well, the safer option would be the green.
safer would be the green, definitely.
Let's do that. Let's put the green in.
Sounds like a plan. All nipped up, so yeah, we'll give that a go, Dan. See how it behaves with that in. I think next thing is just to run it up, make sure the cooling fans work and behave as they should. So quite an important thing when it's on the dyno to make sure they're as they should be. So yeah, I think we'll have a cup of tea, then run it up.
Spin her up. Sounds like a plan to me.
Perfect.
Right, Steve, tea's been consumed. We've gone through all the levels
the little
and
bits
fluids.
and pieces, yeah. So I think obviously we've got the spring in now as well. We've popped that in. So yeah, I think next stage, Dan, just a belt and braces. We're going to run it up to temperature, as I say, make sure the cooling fans do cut in as we should, because that's going to be pretty important for the rolling road.
It's essential that the cooling system is working well for the dyno run. I really hope this goes well.
So yeah, I mean, obviously now the car's running up, we don't have a coolant temperature gauge to keep an eye on the temp, unfortunately. But what we will do, we'll just keep an eye on the thermostat. The thermostat's just located in there. Once the engine's itself warmed up to temperature, the thermostat will open, then the coolant will circulate through the rest of the cooling system through the radiator. Hopefully, all the rest will get warm before the fans cut in. A few different temperature ranges for thermostats, but we'll see what happens with that. Just keep an eye, just feeling the hoses really, see if everything's warming up as it should do. And then yeah, hopefully the cooling fan should cook in.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
So you're waiting for the thermostat to open?
Yeah. So once that opens, that pipe will become warm. It is slightly warm. I mean, so some do have like a little jiggle pin in the top, which will allow a little bit of flow through. There is always a potential that the thermostat could be stuck open, which would just cause it to circulate around and take a longer to warm up. Or even some people do remove the thermostats, which again would just cause the car to take longer to warm up. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on it. Still quite cold on the radiator top hose. It's nice to stand by the warm manifolds.
I was going to say, yeah, it's...
We got any marshmallows?
Yeah.
We can toast.
Hey, don't get too comfortable. It's only doing 14 miles to the gallon.
That's it, I know. Yeah, there's cheaper ways to warm the workshop.
Yeah.
But yeah, feeling that now, the thermostat's definitely opened. So yeah, does feel quite hot to the touch. We should be getting there. So there's a little bit of steam around there. I think that's where we just plugged the cooling system earlier. So that'll soon.
Don't worry, Steve. I trust you.
Yeah,
I trust
it's
you.
fine. It's fine. All under control.
And if it does overheat, it's in the right place.
Well, that's it. The other common thing as well on these, the cooling fan, the connectors to the loom sit just underneath the radiator, and they can sit in water, standing water, or if you've got a leak in there, so they can corrode. So yeah, that's a bit of a weak spot for the fans. If only one of the fans is working, that's a good sign that the auto switch is working, but it's probably a connection issue down there. So, or if none of them, you know, I've known it where they've both been corroded and neither of the fans working, it has been the connections down there. So sometimes a little wiggle on the wires when it's up to temperature can just make them come into life, and then you know it's those, and you can do a bit of a more permanent fix. But hopefully we won't have to do that if they've rewired it.
Hopefully not.
So yeah, so both just feeling that now. Both cores of the radiator are warming up. Obviously the water will go in the top first and then circulate down out the bottom and then back around that way.
See, if this were me, I'd be really worried about not having a gauge.
Oh, well.
Hence why it was the first thing because I got the gauge fixed before I'd even sat down and
yeah,
met
it's
you.
a good way to be.
You know,
yeah.
It was one of those, it's like I can't not have a temperature gauge on a car
It's
like
the
this.
type of thing you want to be keeping an eye on.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, I mean, the fact that I suppose that it is just water, there's not much antifreeze in there. As soon as it reaches 100, if the fans are working, it'll blow out the pressure cap and we can turn it off, you know. Antifreeze, another property of antifreeze, it does slightly reduce the boiling point as well, so they can get a bit hotter before they go. But if there's anything that escapes through the expansion buckle, we know we've got issues with the cooling fans, but hopefully not. Hopefully. There we go. Cooling fans. So it's also just making sure the fans are going the correct way as well.
Right.
Because the way these fans work, they draw cold air through the radiator, which helps with the cooling. I've seen it where they've been wired up the wrong way and they're sort of blowing air that way. So you can get a feel of which way the wind's blowing. So yeah, that's good. Dan, they both kicked into life at the same time, which you'd expect to see, and they are both going the right way. So yeah, all good that way.
Right, Steve, so we've gone through what we need to do to prep it for the
we've
rolling
got an
road.
idea now, haven't we? Well, we're going to keep an eye on the oil level, are we? We're not going to put some gas in for that. We'll get the dash back in, try and get all the gauges working as they should do. We've obviously swapped the spring over, been through all the other levels. We know the fans are working, which is all good. So yeah, a few little bits.
It does feel like at the moment we're finding, every time we dig in, we're finding, like we found the clutch today, haven't we? And the coolant, we need to get the coolant sorted. Definitely. We'll top up the oil.
I mean, there's nothing really that's going to stop you doing your rolling road. I say we'll just get it all back together, really, bonnet back on. We'll find a bolt for the missing bolt that we found before.
Oh, yeah.
So that's all nicely secure, get that nipped up.
Yeah.
And I think you'll be pretty much good to go for your rolling road session, and then before we get into it a bit further, we should be good to go, Dan.
Definitely. So the next time we'll cut back in.
Yep.
I'll be picking it up to take it down south.
Yeah, brilliant.
Get remapped. So
exciting times.
Well, let's hope it survives, eh?
I'm sure it will. No, you'll be fine.
I'm going to spare you the 200 miles of podcasts and Costa coffee. Let's just get on with the run. This first run was following around an hour of Shaun tweaking the ECU to make the car run as well as possible. Now, after some more tweaks, let's go with the second run and compare. So let's look at the results. The car is now running 287 brake horsepower at the wheels. So a very good result for a now low boosting 4 litre. There we go. Both me and the car are back at Selby TVR, safe and sound. Running the car on the dyno has found a couple of faults that we need to fix, but overall the car is running so much better. If you have enjoyed today's video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, and also please consider subscribing. It doesn't cost you a penny, but it really helps the channel. That's all for today, and I'll see you next time.
Because you never know what you're gonna run into along the way.
Oh dear.
That's one for the outtakes.